Hello everybody, welcome to Hard Mode, where we play through games on the hardest difficulty. Today we're playing Call of Duty 2. Hot off the heels of winning over 80 Game of the Year awards, Infinity Ward knew their next game they had to go bigger and better. From remaking all assets, to completely upgrading enemy and ally AI, and levels being even more open-ended than previously. Did all this work pay off? Let's take a look. The game follows a similar idea story and presentation-wise. It was split up into American, British, and Soviet campaigns. This time, it's backwards. We start off in the Soviet campaign as Vasily Kozlov. We start off in basic training. Though this training feels a lot more thrown together, since good god, look at what's around us. The training is the usual. Here's how to move, shoot, and use grenades. At the end of the training, a soldier comes up to the commissar and says they have a prisoner. We go over to interrogate him and learn about an attack from the southeast. Next, we run to our supplies while avoiding enemy fire. In the supply room, they introduce us to a new grenade type, smoke grenades. These are our new best friends. Enemies rarely fire through them, so it's easy to move up and trigger enemies to stop spawning. We get a quick smoke tutorial and then it's time to kill some baddies. We also get the PPSH, which is one of my favorite guns. We fight through the war-torn streets and destroyed buildings. It's here I spot an enemy going into last stand. Surely that won't cause a lot of deaths. Speaking of deaths, the kill count will likely always be lower than the first game. The reason why is now when we get hurt, we just take cover and our bullet wounds heal. No more health bar. We explode a car and our commissar congratulates us on our fieldwork. The mission then ends. Our next mission is to repulse a German attack and take the area. Upon mission start, we are immediately greeted by an ambush. We fight through a nearby house and into a snow tunnel. Oh, do I have to crouch or? Bad news, boys. I'm stuck. Really bad news, boys. Add one to the death counter. At the other side, we enter a building and take a defensive position. A horde of Germans attack and we start mowing them down. Eventually, they start falling back and we charge them. We push them back into a building where they barricaded a room on the second floor. We pick the most obvious way to solve this problem: blow up the building supports. We blow the building and the mission ends. Our next job is to fix the field phone's wire so we can call HQ. Not much to say about this part. We follow the wire and press F to fix parts that are cut. Meanwhile, we fight off nearby enemies while looking for a way to move forward. With the radio repaired, we hear from the HQ that panzers are approaching. We grab some sticky bombs and start heading for the panzers. We track one down and plant the bombs on its tracks, taking the panzer out. We see another one in the distance and start stalking our prey. We catch it by surprise and plant the bomb on it. We repeat this for one more tank and the mission ends. Next up, the enemy has an HQ at the train station, and we don't like that. We start off going through a pipe. We spot some enemies beneath us and open fire only for them to fire back. We quickly scurry through the rest of the pipe. We end up outside the station and start fighting forward with our allies. We take the station and then defend it from oncoming enemies. Turns out enemies are respawning, so we have to slowly crawl and kill our way to the next objective. The objective is a tank nearby that we blow up. Now we get something new. Pick your path for the objective. They give us a couple things we have to clear out or destroy, and we can pick what order to do them in. We move up and clear 3 areas, ending the mission. Our next goal is to clear out enemies in an area. No other real way to put it. Our team fights through the street, we clear out a couple of ruined houses, and find some explosives. Perfect for the tank nearby. We blow it up and continue fighting our way through the streets. We clear out another building and use the MG42s in the window to take out more enemies while allies take out an ammo depot. After they blow it up, we go down into a square. A tank appears and we play tag with it. We eventually catch it and blow it up. Nearby happens to be Town Hall, so we decide to waltz on over and kill all enemies there. We've reached the final mission in the Russian campaign. Let's take City Hall. Since it's a 2003 game, the place only has like 5 or so rooms with a giant open area next to it. We quickly take the first 2 or so rooms and grab a sniper. There's an enemy sniper in a building nearby which we quickly deal with and fight through the rest of the rooms. With the whole building clear, it's time to use that big open area near us. We take up a defensive position because here comes the horde. We wipe out a couple hordes and then a tank comes. We grab a Panzerfaust nearby and use it. We clean out the stragglers and that ends the Russian campaign. The next campaign is the British one, and it takes place on the African front. I think this is the second time I played a game that has the World War II African front, so I was really excited to play through this one. We play as Sergeant John Davis, whose company is led by none other than Captain Price. We start off launching a sneak attack behind enemy Germans. We fight through the trenches and take out 3 MG posts. Next up, there's an ammo depot nearby. We plant explosives and blow up fire barrels to take it out. Also, remember how I mentioned multiple objectives to complete in an area? Geez, this one has a lot. The last part of this mission is taking out a nearby mission and grabbing enemy intel. Next mission, we drive over to an ally town that's being besieged. We move around the town, defending each direction from enemy attacks. At a certain point, we start calling in artillery fire. Naturally, it's our job. We head to the top of a roof in the middle of town and use our binoculars to call in artillery. After a ton of enemy tanks die, our tanks come in and clean up the rest. Next mission starts with us following behind tanks. We reach an enemy bunker and fight through. On the other side, we use tanks as cover to reach the next trench. We clear out the trench till we reach another bunker. You'll never guess what we do next. That's right, we clear it out.
Kind of a more vanilla answer, I guess, but the Human Centipede movies are pretty weird. Those were weird watches.
On the opposite end is a flat cannon that we take over. Following the trench, we run into another bunker. The bunker leads to another flat cannon we take. On the other side of the bunker, we hide back behind another tank as we head for the next trench. There, we find 3 more flat cannons we take.
Motherfucker walked in front of me!
After the cannons, we go into another bunker. On the other side of this bunker is a town. We roll up and start wiping out everyone. In the center building, we find a radio and use it to let allies know the area has been taken. Next mission, we've been tasked with clearing out another town. We ride in on jeeps. Once we reach town, we immediately get ambushed. We hop out of our jeep and start mowing our way forward. We run into a row of flat cannons that we take for ourselves. On the other end of the row is another house we take. This house also has a radio that we use to call in artillery on nearby ships. We fight through more of the town until we reach the main square.
There we go. I have faith in that firing squad of men that they can kill him. Or not, I guess. Nah, I'm gonna keep moving through the mission.
The Germans left some plans out in the houses here. May as well take them for ourselves. We regroup and keep fighting through the city till we reach allies at the beach. With that, the mission ends. It's time for tank missions. This mission's goal is to head east and kill anything that isn't us. Our tank line moves out and we just kill. Now that we've made it east, we need to destroy a little of everything. Some flat cannons, some tanks, and some people. Back over to our boots on the ground missions. We start off in Toulon and immediately start mowing enemies with an MG. We get a radio that we have to fall back. Too many enemies are attacking the town. We exit the building and fight our way to a nearby armored car. We get into the gunner seat and make our way to the edge of town. While driving, we deal with enemy Panzerfaust or get kill chained.
Another one. Fuck. So the shot, like the anti-aircraft gun, is not exactly on. Fuck. This is gonna be tough with him turning. Me trying to do this. I might want to get off this. They're all sitting there! What was this? Oh, wait, shit.
Eventually, a car we drive by explodes and totals our car. We make sure everyone is okay and start hoofing it. We eventually reach a car and end the mission. We don't take this lying down, though. Next mission is us rolling back into town on some tanks ready to fight. Naturally, we get ambushed and fight back. We fight through some of the previous levels, slowly inching forward through enemy lines.
Alright, we got a bunch of enemy squadrons to take out. My god! Alright, everyone, get your throwing arm ready and go!
We reach the town square and start getting pinned down by a tank. I crawl around the wall till a friendly tank that punches through nearby deals with the enemy tank. Unfortunately, not even a minute later, 2 invincible enemies come out and rocket our tank. We keep pushing forward into 3 Flak 88 nests. We take them out and arrive at what seems like the town hall. We wipe out all the enemies here, taking the town. Next up, we want to assault the town Tuni. Before we can do that, we scout out the Matmata route for allied forces. While driving, we get rammed and ambushed. We try our best to stay alive in this hallway of death until allies open a nearby gate. We rush through and start fighting our way through the town. While fighting through the town, we run into more allies and enemy planes keep doing drive-bys on us. We eventually reach the town square and it has a big anti-aircraft gun for us to take. We clear the area, then use the AA gun to take out the enemy planes. This ends the mission. We haven't finished the British campaign yet, but here's where the American one starts. The American campaign starts with the landing on Normandy. Our boats land on the beach and we are immediately greeted by the scenery you'd expect. We walk up to the nearby wall and use a rope to rappel up. Once we reach the top, we quickly head into a trench to stay alive. We start fighting through the trenches until we reach bunkers that we also clear out. Essentially, this entire area needs everything that isn't American dead. Eventually, we've taken the beach and we start making our way to a nearby crossroad. Before we reach the crossroad, we go through a couple houses and a graveyard. We care about this crossroad because enemy artillery guns are nearby. We put thermite in them and then head back to the beach to clear out enemies that have now spawned in. This ends the mission. This was easily my favorite mission in the game. While taking the beach, it felt completely chaotic. Enemies were everywhere and I felt lost and confused. I'm going to attribute this to the developers wanting to make the player feel more like what actual soldiers felt. The next mission also does a great job at this. We start off by defending the crossroads, and as time goes by, we slowly get pushed back to the end of the beach until allied forces come and help us. This mission felt hopeless towards the end. We were pushed back into corners with no end in sight. Enemies just kept piling towards us. Next up, we're tasked with taking a town and dealing with its flat cannons. God, I can't wait to not type out the same mission objective in 2 games. We start off moving through a dirt road and then a field towards the town. Once the town's in range, we start taking out enemy MGs across the way. We get close to town and now it's 6 different areas to clear. It's another one where we can take it in any order we please. After clearing the town, we get word an enemy attack is coming. We climb up a nearby grain tower and start sniping all enemies that dare approach. The danger lies in enemy mortar teams that will destroy the tower if you're not fast enough. After enough time passes, a bunch of reinforcements arrive and the mission ends. Might be a pattern here. The game decides we've seen enough on this front and we head back over to the British front. Our job is to take out mortars and save POWs. We start off in a cemetery-like area. We fight to a nearby town and take out the mortar crews. With the crews taken care of, it's time to find those prisoners.
Wow, that's really bad. That's especially bad. No, because he got in front of me! Oh! And I lost all that fucking progress.
We search through each house until we find them. Unfortunately, some are wounded and can't move. We head out with an ally to find a truck that can transport them all. Luckily, there's one nearby we hotwire. While our ally drives, we hang out in the back with our gun ready. Also, there's a Panzerfaust here. Wonder what that's for. We find out in about 3 seconds when an enemy tank cuts off our path with other enemies. We blow them up and head to the house. The tedium of this campaign starts showing up after this next mission, though. Once again, the plan is to go somewhere, take it over, and then deal with the counterattack. We start off fighting through the streets. This moves to houses as we flank MG fire and take out tanks. After fighting enemies past the edge of town, they all start running. To make sure the coast is clear, we check a nearby barn. We find tons of enemies hiding out, and we do what we do best. We also find a radio that we take out. As with the other missions, we now stand our ground and take out waves of enemies. The only difference is there's no timer this time. There's an MG up in the roof that makes quick work of the waves. A tank arrives at the end of the waves and starts taking chunks out of the barn. Luckily, a friendly plane comes by and takes it out. We regroup and the mission ends. Next mission is to take a town. We walk up and are immediately greeted by a Tiger tank. We flank around through a side house, and here we get to choose what direction we take. It's another 5 objectives to complete as we like. The objectives are secure the town hall, the post office, the flat gun, the church, and the HQ. They're all just going to the place and taking out all enemies. Near the post office, friendly tanks come and take out the Tiger. The church was easily the most annoying one to take. Enemies keep respawning even when I got close. Once we take all locations, the mission ends. It's time for the last British mission. We take out mortar teams and then secure a headquarters and defend it. Yep, that's about it. A lot of the missions follow the same arc. We start off running through artillery fire towards a barn. Once we reach the barn, the artillery stops for some reason. We head out the other way and run right into an armored car. Luckily, we can just shoot the turret gunner and it's no longer a threat. We fight our way through the nearby town while taking out 2 mortar crews. We cross a mortar-stricken field and take the headquarters. Next up is defending the house for roughly 4 minutes. This section was a nightmare. The house is really small and there's multiple ways for enemies to come in, so hiding isn't as easy. I ended up just sitting in the basement near the stairs to cover the back entrance and the staircase. Meanwhile, all my non-important allies got massacred. It was cool seeing how a tank started destroying the house though. At the end of the timer, we sneak up beside the tank and plant explosives, killing it. We regrouped, ending the British campaign. Back over to our American friends, we start the Battle of Hill 400. Well, technically the mission is approaching the hill. Clear out the surrounding area to prepare for the big assault. The first part is fighting from house to house. As we make our way to another house, a mortar suddenly strikes near us. We run for cover and start making our way to the mortar crew. We wipe out the crew and move towards the rest of the town. The last spot to check out is a church. We breach through the giant hole in the wall and secure the area. With everything taken, the mission ends. It's time for the assault. Directly going up is suicide, so allies plant smoke to cover our advance. We don't go straight up though, we sneak around through safer routes. Safe means there aren't MGs firing at us. There's still plenty of enemies. When we get the chance, we clear out MG nests. We reach the top of the hill and all that's left is some goons, a mortar squad, and an armored car. We do our usual kill and inch forward while also planting explosives on the armored car and the bunkers.
Shit. There's a fucking grenade over there. They're throwing so many grenades, their own men can't figure out what the fuck is going on.
Once everything is cleared out, the mission ends. I'm sure we're all aware of this game's MO at this point. Yup, it's defend the area for a set amount of time until reinforcements arrive. Ammo and various guns are littered around the main bunker. Before the timer kicks in, we snipe mortar teams that have set up just past the ridge. Naturally, since we're on a hill, they can set up from any direction, while regular enemies also come from any direction. After what feels like 30 different mortar groups, they finally back off, and start firing artillery. We take cover, and after the barrage, another horde appears. Eventually, mid-horde, a tank arrives. We back up and use the Panzerfaust. Meanwhile, regular enemies are popping up all around us like rats. I try sitting in the bunker, but quickly see how awful the grenade spam can be.
Motherfucking, that's 5 grenades! That's 5 fucking grenades!
With camping out of the question, it's just moving from cover to cover as corners get cleared. Once enough enemies die, the horde stops and the 5-minute timer begins. Hordes start arriving along with another tank. This was just hell. There's no safe spot and allies don't kill anywhere near well enough to be helpful. There are little cover spots around the hill I ended up running between when one got overwhelmed. After much turmoil, the timer finally hits 0 and friendly planes wipe out all enemies. We've reached the last mission of the campaign. It's nothing special, just get to the other side of the Rhine River and take out enemy ordnance. We start on a tank manning the machine gun, ripping into enemy fodder. After enough enemies have been ripped and teared, we get off the gun and make our way up to the destroyed beach. We end up taking out another artillery gun before running into a graveyard. There's nothing special about this graveyard. We find the town square and 2 tanks. The only gear we have to take them out is explosives. Luckily, the tank drivers either don't have object permanence or a will to live, and we walk up to the tank tracks. After both tanks explode, we clear out the stragglers and regroup. We celebrate with a cutscene about the German army surrendering, thus ending the campaign. I died a total of 304 times. A solid contributor to this is their answer to camping during defense sections. Enemies love throwing grenades at the player if they can't see them. This design idea sticks around until pretty much the end of the golden era of COD. They also got rid of the life bar in the game. Now you take cover and your body magically regenerates the bullet wounds. This becomes the staple for the entire franchise. I was kinda unimpressed with the campaign as a whole. Frankly, I don't remember the Russian campaign. The only part that stood out to me was fixing the wire. The Africa front was cool. The only other game I can think of that lets us fight there is Sniper Elite 3. I also liked the first 3 American missions, but the rest was pretty cut and paste. Missions all played out similarly without any fun variety like sneaking onto an enemy ship or infiltrating enemy camps like in the previous game. Gun-wise, it's pretty similar to the first game. You'll end up using the MP40 the whole campaign due to the sheer amount of ammo you get. I wish there was more of a chance to try out other guns like in the Hill 400 battle. The best addition to our arsenal is the smoke grenade. This proved an awesome tactical element to help me flank or just move to a better position. Audio-wise, all I hear is MG42 fire. It still haunts me.
Take up defensive positions, lads. Hold them off until the convoy arrives. Sergeant Davis, get on the German machine.
Level design was a definite improvement compared to the first game. Infinity Ward wanted to give players more freedom in how they tackle each mission, and it definitely shows in some.
Well, one of the things about Call of Duty 1 where some people felt it was a little too linear, so we wanted to open up the gameplay.
Along with this is the scale of some missions. They feel more like a long-form battle. During the intro, I mentioned how they improved the enemy AI. I primarily felt this with the suppression mechanic. The easiest way to describe it is how it felt stronger than the previous game. Aside from this, I didn't really notice a difference. Maybe because I was more concerned with not dying. Allies and enemies make way more callouts to help the player. Again, I didn't pay too much attention to this though.
Autonomous AI that could retreat from his position, can set up ambushes, can try to flank the player. They've got vision cones, hearing radiuses. They're just much more self-aware than they were in Call of Duty 1.
The video I've been showing is called Making of Call of Duty 2 from NeoGamer. I recommend watching this if you're more interested in this game's development. It's a great video. Overall, I'm gonna have to give this game a C. It could be much worse, which we'll see later on. Modern Warfare 3. The main things holding it back are just the missions themselves. I get being a cog in the wheel, just another squad on the ground like any other, but having more variety in what we do would be nice. If it wasn't for the repetitiveness, I would easily rank this game higher than the previous game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Hard Mode where we go through Call of Duty 3.